passion and fervor of Nigeria's new political third force, the Labour Party, came out in force last weekend during the presidential and National Assembly elections. In spite of widespread irregularities that marred the process, the party made a big splash and performed way beyond expectations. With just 1 week to the governorship and state assembly elections, the Labour Party is looking to consolidate on the gains recorded recently in Delta State. For greater insight, we're now being joined by Labour Party's governorship candidate in Delta State, Pela. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so on account of the myriad of challenges, do you have faith in Nigeria's electoral process? You're also running within that context, as it were.
Well, thank you once again for having me. Now, the faith that we had was what has led to the passion we have all over the place. That faith was anchored on, one, the Electoral Act, and two, the BVAS process. That faith is shaken to a large extent by the fact that while the BVAS worked to the extent of reducing rigging that comes from overvoting, it failed to control the rigging that comes from the collateral process, from the collation process. Now, that failure is not a fault of the beavers. Obviously, it was a deliberate problem. Results were not communicated, were not uploaded electronically, deliberately, so that what happened could happen. And that in itself is against the law. We have a law that stipulates that that process be followed. And we have a situation where that law has been broken. Now, when people lose faith in the rule of law, we have anarchy. We are hopeful that that will be corrected. We are hopeful that as we move towards the governorship elections, it will be corrected while the process to review and correct what has happened in the presidential process happens. If it happens again in the presidential process, I'm certain there will be breakdown of law and order.
Right.
Well, you're certain that there will be breakdown of law and order. I'm looking at the political map here, and Delta States came out in numbers for the Labour Party.
Yes.
341,866.
Yes. For the first time, Delta State went to the opposition.
Not just the opposition, as some would like to call it, a third force.
Third force.
Yes, because the PDP polled half of that, 161,600.
Yes.
You look at that, and you say that a lot of people have been speaking, and their line of reasoning has been that the way the presidential elections, the trajectory of the presidential elections, usually is always different from the trajectory of the governorship election.
True.
So people might have come out en masse to poll these numbers.
Yeah.
And in the governorship election, they might go a different route completely. So talk to us.
Okay.
How do you galvanize this number of people to come out for the for the governorship election, just like how you did for the presidential elections?
Okay. The trajectory usually for the presidential is usually lower than the governorship. Usually. People come out more for the governorship, because it's local. Now, this time, because of the passion all over the country for the presidential elections, this happened. It could be dampened by what has happened, because from the last few days we've been having to talk to people, because they came out en masse because there was hope that the whole process would work.
Okay.
There are people that are their zeal has been dampened by the fact that we're going to be wasting our time. So at this point, we are talking to them. We are talking to them to say, look, it happened the last time, and we were able to show, in Delta in particular, there's been a cry for change for years. And each time, it didn't happen. Each time, the PDP, for whatever reason, won. Okay, and this was declared.
All right.
Now, for the first time, we're able to demystify them. We're able to prove that it was possible. All right? So we're saying, come out, let's show that it was not a fluke. 1. 2, the mistakes that were made the previous time, we're going to correct. Some of us went home without waiting for uploading the results. Some of us who waited for it to be uploaded, they deceived us by uploading offline. So we're telling them, come out en masse, vote, wait for it to be uploaded, check that it has reflected before they go. All right? So there's a yearning for change. The people, that yearning, the people are going to come out to show that it wasn't a fluke. They're going to come out to prove that Delta State has been yearning for change. That change is possible.
All right, Mr. Pela.
Yes.
Governorship elections, by their own narratives, they have their own peculiarities as well. Yeah. And you talked about different trajectories. But what's Labour's stance on rotational leadership among the various indigenous ethnic groups within Delta State? There are others who feel aggrieved that they haven't been ably represented for quite some time among those groups. Or is that in the new trajectory of things irrelevant?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, considering Nigeria and ethnic issues, it's not really relevant. In Delta State, rotation means that the governorship go to the Urhobos. I am Urhobo. All the governorship candidates today are Urhobo. All right, so it's not irrelevant. All of us contesting fit into what it should be. What will now determine is competence. Who is more competent and other issues.
But the youthful population that Labour holds so dear now, how does that resonate with them, in trying to get Labour into the mantle of leadership in Delta right now?
Today,
irrespective of the fact that there are all those ethnic groups combined.
Yes, the youthful, population, like I said before, are desirous of change, and they're tired of the 24 years that we have had. Okay, Delta is number 1 or number 2 in earnings. It's number 26 on the Financial Sustainability Index.
Okay.
We're the second most indebted state in the country.
Okay. Despite all the income and the revenues coming in. Yeah.
So we've had 24 years, and we cannot see what has happened in 24 years. The people are tired. The people are tired. They want to change the situation. And the youth today are, unlike our generation that will make excuses, they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. All right, so that's what's propelling this third force. And it's the same in Delta.
Okay.
And you saw the results in the presidential elections.
All right.
And you will see it even louder in the governorship elections.
Okay, some also have spoken about the fact that it's always better to sail when, to actually navigate the waters and sail when the wind is at its highest. A lot of people have spoken about the fact that maybe a game changer for those states where we saw unprecedented votes for the Labour Party is to have one man, Peter Obi, come out and campaign for them vigorously in those states, that might just be the game changer. We know that he's a little bit preoccupied with the proceedings and the fallout of the presidential election. Have you had talks with him about campaigning in states like Delta State, where we saw a massive tsunami of voters come out in favor of the Labour Party? Lagos State, for example.
Yes.
That's a lot of political currents were actually swung completely the other way. Talk to us about this.
You're definitely right. That would make a world of difference. And we're talking about it. We're hopeful. Even before the presidential elections, we had talked about it, that after the elections, he would come campaign with us. Right? Now it is even more important that he does that. He has said in his last press conference, and he has appealed to the people not to despair and to come out in their masses to vote, and that he will be there with us campaigning. He will definitely come. I had a meeting with him yesterday. We're trying to work out dates. We are hopeful that any time between Monday and Thursday, he will go around those states to campaign.
Very good. Now, can we separate the candidate from the party whom he or she represents? Labour made gains in the Federal House of Assembly, the Parliament, on account of Mr. Obi's candidacy, and that movement, was quite apparent. But how will your party be able to maintain that momentum? Not just for those gains, but towards the gubernatorial elections as well. And in view of the proceedings that we're currently going through, the litigations here and there.
Okay, why did we have those gains? It was basically because we were able to communicate to the people that, let me tell you the way we put it. You've tried the broom, you've tried the umbrella. They are all inanimate objects. Now try human beings. Papa, Mama, Pikin. The Labour Party began to symbolize hope, apathy. They see in the Labour Party a difference. That's what they see. And so,
but they're just seeing that difference now.
Yes.
Because where was Labour just a few years ago? Before Mr. Obi even came.
What has changed? I'll give an analogy. A dead body without a body without blood won't have life. And so Peter Obi, another thing I say is that the Labour Party is a 20-year, all along, the 20-year-old baby, all right, who's now learning how to walk because life has been put into it. What's made the difference is leadership. Okay? What Nigerians are now hopeful for is visionary leadership. We've had leadership all along without vision. Now they see a leader with a vision. And we've been able to manage to translate that and communicate that to the people. And so the people in the creeks, there are old women that came out and say, that one, Papa, Mama, Pikin, that one way people did, that's what they want to vote for. All right? And that will translate. And that's what basically happened. Papa, Mama, Pikin, Papa, Mama, Pikin. There's a way we say it, enye, enye. Enye, enye means you continue to press it. Okay? That's the way we campaign. And that's what's going to happen. In the governorship election, it will translate. They're going to go out there for the candidates in the governorship, for the candidates in the House of Assembly. It will just be enye, enye for Mama, Papa, Pikin.
All right. Now, as they say, you do not get a second chance to make the first impression. A lot of people, looking back and casting their minds back to how the presidential election played out, said that probably the Labour came with the element of surprise because political juggernauts, political think tanks, all thought it impossible that the Labour Party will not even...
They didn't see us coming.
They didn't see you coming.
They didn't see us coming.
And they didn't take... And we saw political parties and their candidates talk down on the Labour Party and their prospects and the fact that all the support of the Labour Party was on social media.
Yes.
Now that element of surprise is gone.
Yes.
The Labour Party has shown that they are a force to reckon with. And certainly going into the governorship election, no one would dare trivialize the Labour Party going there again.
True.
And that element of surprise seems to have been gone. How do you capture this thunder again to ensure that we begin to see things happen? Because like I was saying to my colleague Steve this morning, the man from Etiosa here, he's still getting a lot of big bats because no one saw him coming. Nobody understood who he was before I mean, until after his name was announced, because they all felt that Obanikoro or Banky Wellington was the man, or were the people that were the frontliners until Labour Party happened. Now all that is gone. No one will be surprised again. Trust. What do you need to do to be able to capture this thunder like you did in the presidential election?
Okay, I'm glad you put it that way. I had always said that we will shocktalize them. All right. Now, they weren't prepared for the numbers they saw. Those numbers will still be there. All right, probably even more, because there's rage out there. We believe we won the presidential elections. We believe that we were robbed. We want to show that it was not a fluke. We want to show that the numbers are there and we will win decisively this time. Just as they surprised us, or just as we surprised them, they also surprised us. We never thought that they would dare the impunity that went with not uploading the results. We never thought it would happen. We thought there was going to be free and fair elections. We did not expect, take Delta, all right? There were areas where, the presidential elections results, the way it went, we won more seats we won a seat in the Senate that they manipulated. There are 3 seats in the House of Reps that they manipulated out. All right? That happened through that process of manipulating the results. Okay? Because the results were not originally uploaded. That was what they surprised us with, because we trusted the process. This time, there's nothing new for them to see with our numbers, but there's something new they will see with our preparedness for what they're going to bring.
Okay. All right, Mr. Pela, if you don't mind me asking, at around 37%, I think, or thereabout, this election still witnessed low voter turnout. We need to be very realistic about that, and it's been dubbed as one of the lowest, in Nigeria's electoral process for some time now. So, why do you think that is, and what should we do, or should stakeholders, do to galvanize people's participation, interest? We've seen a little bit of that in Labour, but generally on a larger scale, to improve the numbers. Briefly, please, in about a minute.
Yes, I actually think that 30-something% is high compared to what we've had.
Okay.
Before. We've had 20-something% before in cases where the numbers were padded. This time we have the real numbers.
And can we thank Beavers for that?
Definitely.
All right.
All right.
Okay. On that.
Ken, Pela, I want to say thank you very much for joining us here on Newsline.
It's a pleasure.
All right.